if you're in the market for any new Sims 4 packs, you can use my code at checkout to help support me and the channel, as I receive a small commission every time you do. Simply enter code RachelPedd in the promo code and click apply. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another speed build video in The Sims 4. I hope you're all having the most amazing day ever so far and thank you so much for joining me here today. We are back in Copperdale working on our 80s save file and I am so excited to share this build with you all. Finishing this build means that we now only have the high school left and also one other lot, which is where the original library was, and I'm likely going to be asking for your input because I'm not entirely sure what I would like to put there. Now, let me just talk you through before I talk a little bit more about this house and the family that I'm wanting to live here. I just want to talk to you about where we are with the save file, etc. So, as I've just explained, we have the high school left to do. I have already started working on that lot. Now, the exterior structure is pretty much complete. There's a lot of landscaping that I still need to do, but I am actively working on that lot, you know, as we speak right now. And then also, like I was saying, we have the library lot that was like a library. Obviously, when Copperdale was first released, that was the library lot. So do I keep it as a library? Bearing in mind we don't really have many community lots within this save file so far. We have the drive-in movie theatre. We also have that multi-purpose lot where I put the bar and then the flat above and then the family house on the same lot. So we don't really have many community lots, so I would imagine that you're all going to tell me that you want some sort of community lot there. Now, would you like an arcade? That's my first thought, is to create an arcade for there. Would you like to keep it as a library? Do you want another residential lot? Like, what are you essentially wanting that lot to be? I just need a little bit of steer, but like, answer in the comments down below, please feel free. But if obviously for any reason, for those of you that aren't going to see this video, I'll also pop it on my post tab on YouTube as well, and we can kind of have a bit of discussion over there. Anyway, so yes, this family, this is a slightly, I think this is a slightly different family dynamic compared to what I've been exploring within this save file so far. So I'm imagining in this house, it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and I'm imagining that there's an older married couple that live here. In real life terms, as it were, I would imagine they're in their sort of mid-60s-ish. Their son also lives with them now. He's moved back home. I would say he's maybe early to mid 30s, and he has a baby daughter who is an infant. And the reason that he's moved back in with his parents is he has found himself to be a single dad. Now, what I haven't thought about really is the backstory behind why he's now a single dad. I don't really know what's happened to the mum. Obviously, if you download and play through the save file, then you can kind of do whatever backstory you want to with that. You can by all means feel free to create the mum so that then they've got some sort of relationship if you wanted them to. But essentially, yeah, the son's moved back home. This is his childhood home. His mum and dad have lived here for decades. So what's really interesting about this storyline is when we move onto the interior of the house, I wanted to play out this storyline within the furnishings and how the house was sort of laid out, etc. So the son has moved back into his childhood bedroom. It still has a few decor items from when he was a teen or a student or whatever, you know, if he was attending university, etc. And he has like a mobile cot or crib in his bedroom for his baby girl to sleep in. Now, in the 3rd bedroom, it is in the process of being renovated because his mum and dad are like, look, your daughter needs her own bedroom. She's going to grow up fast. Kids grow up fast. She's going to need her own bedroom. Because I think secretly, they absolutely, not even secretly, I don't think it's a secret at all, they adore their son being home and they don't really want him to leave too soon. So they're kind of just saying, you know, stay here for a while, get yourself situated, get yourself back together, and we will help you out any way we can. So I just thought that was a really nice storyline. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, it's something just a little bit different compared to what we've been exploring so far within the save file. So yes, again, if you would like to create Sims, for this save file, I don't know if you're new to the channel or if you're new to the save file series, then let me just explain what I mean by what I'm about to say. So I am creating all of the lots for the save file, and my amazing, incredible, talented, wonderful community are creating all of the Sims to go within these lots. So if you would like to upload any of the households that I've described within this save file, including this one, then you simply upload your Sims to the gallery using my hashtag, which is RachelPeddSave. Now, please note, the Sims cannot use any custom content. This is a custom content free save file, so the Sims absolutely cannot use any custom content. That is the only disclaimer that I have for you. Please feel free to use any packs. I have all packs installed thanks to the EA Creator Network, so don't worry about that. But yeah, if that's what you'd like to do, then please feel free. So again, another family for you guys to work on and to upload to the gallery. There's already been so many people that have uploaded the most incredible families to the gallery. I've already started moving some of them in to the houses within the save file as well, and it's just really exciting to see it all come together. It really is. Anyway, we've now moved on to the inside of the house. So this is where we start laying out the floor plans. We pop the stairs down, we put all the doors down, we light up all the rooms. We've done a RachelPedd classic teeny tiny hallway with archways leading out to the main rooms, such as the kitchen and the living room. Now, one really neat thing about this house is that I actually utilize the garage space using the Restoration Workshop kit, which I actually did in my previous video where I created, like, quote unquote the perfect family home. That was the first time that I actually got my hands on the kit and I was able to showcase it on my channel. So I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna add some items in here, because I think the dad in particular, like obviously the older dad and his son, perhaps used to bond over like restoring items and such. And so I was like, well, we've got a garage door at the front of the house, so it kind of just makes sense for me to actually make that into a functioning space. Now that we have that kit, there's really no excuse. So so that's what I decided to do there. But I think we work on that a little bit further down the line. But the first room that we work on is, as you can see, the living room here. Now I use a bit of a mishmash of different tones of wood, although we do kind of remain within the same wood family, if that makes sense. Like, they're not completely mismatched, but you can see that they don't match perfectly, which I have spoken about so many times on the channel, where I say, you know, I feel like it's not really very realistic for any house, like anywhere, for all the wood swatches to match perfectly. Like in my house, for example, we try and match the wood swatches as best we can, but we buy all of our furniture from completely different places, so the wood swatches aren't going to match perfectly. And that's the same in everyone's house, especially in the 80s. I really don't think people were that bothered about wood swatches not matching in the 80s. There might have been some people that were, but my Sims certainly aren't that bothered in this save file. So the living room actually came together quite quickly, which surprised me, considering I have not worked on this save file, like I explained at the beginning, for around about a month. It's been a little while. I think I'm stringing it out, firstly, as I was explaining at the beginning, because I'm just really enjoying the process. Secondly, I think I'm delaying the fact that I'm having to work on this high school, because it's really difficult. I'm just going to hold my hands up here, and I don't think that's a shock to anyone. It's not a surprise. It's not news. It's like, well, yeah, of course it is, Rachel. You know, high schools are like more difficult enough lots, to try and navigate anyway. But when you throw in the fact that it has to be an 80s themed US high school, like for me, that is such a challenge. And that was another reason that I wanted to start this save file, was to make sure that I'm challenging myself. I wanted a project to work on this year that I had not worked on before. I've never worked on anything like this before. I love the 80s. I love everything about the 80s. So it just made sense for me to do a save file that's sort of dedicated to that decade. So yeah, we've already spoken on the channel about, like, my next save file is likely going to be a 90s themed save file, which I think everyone's really excited for. And I've decided I'm doing it in Del Sol Valley. Like, I already know where I'm doing that save file. So as soon as this is finished, I'll be right onto that one. But I'm also doing a base game save file with someone. That's all I'm going to say right now, with someone. Some people may already know, I've only done one lot so far. I'm halfway through another lot. But yeah, we're also working on a base game save file, so I'm trying not to overwhelm myself too much. However, it is nice when I have content. Like if I'm sat here thinking, well, what should I film today? And it's like, I have no excuse to sit there and like wonder and ask myself, what shall I film today? There's plenty of things that I can be filming and plenty of things that I can be doing. So it's actually really nice to have like my teeth sunk into all these different things, you know, it's just really good. But yeah, the living room is huge. I did decide to add a bar in this living room. I was thinking, I don't know if anyone's seen that 70s show. And look, I know we're doing an 80s save file, but just bear with me for a second. I'm almost positive that Kitty Foreman has a bar in her living room, which, goals. But I have started introducing this more and more in some of the slightly larger family rooms or living rooms within the houses. So I think it was pretty common, to be honest, for bars to be situated in the living rooms. So that's something that I've started doing. You can see we've got like a rusty old fan here as well. I just wanted an excuse to put that here, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not entirely sure why, it just fit with the vibe. I don't know, they've probably had that fan for like 15 years, you know, and it's still chugging away. But yeah, the living room, it came together really nicely. I love the fact that nothing really matches. I think it fits really well with the vibe that the couple are slightly older and they've been in this house for a really long time. You know, that the whole house, it's like the whole house just tells its own story, you know. And then we move on to the garage space. So this is where I would imagine the dad likes to come in and just tinker with things. He crafts things, he fixes things up, does a bit of painting and such. And I think this is where he and his son growing up, they spent a lot of time. This is where they bonded, and I just thought that was a really nice story. It possibly is also, sorry, worth noting, I think the son is an only child. I don't think this couple had any other children after they had their son. I think he's an only child, and obviously now the son has a daughter who currently is an only child. That's not to say that he won't meet somebody else and perhaps have children with them, but currently his daughter is also an only child. But yeah, I really like how this room came together. I don't know why I'm stumbling over my words for a second. I think I've had too much coffee today. That's what it is. And when I say I've had too much coffee, I've had like 2 cups of coffee today. So, and I'm not really a big coffee drinker, but I was just in the mood for coffee. So maybe that's why, who knows? Final touch in here is just like an old ratty rug that's on the floor for no reason whatsoever, other than I'm obsessed with rugs in my Sims builds. So yeah, and can I just say that I absolutely adore this wallpaper that I decided to use in this house, paired with this flooring from the Life and Death pack. It worked so beautifully, and honestly, it really, really, really fit the bill and fit the vibe that I was wanting to go for with this house. It truly did. So that's pretty much the downstairs done. We just have 2 more rooms left, one of which is the kitchen, which we're working on now, and then the other one is the room on the far left of the home, which I'm going to be honest, I had to ask my friend, my amazing friend, April, aka Miss Simrino, you probably already know her. We were on Discord and I was like, I have no idea what to turn this room into. Any ideas? And she suggested that I turn it into like a hobby music room, and I put a chess table in there. So it's just like a bit of a hobby / activity room, really. So I just thought that was a really nice idea. But thank you, April, because if I hadn't have asked you, I think I would still be stuck on that one. So thank you very much. But yeah, the kitchen turned out really nicely, although it is a much bigger space than I had anticipated before I got in here. When I started working on it, I was just like, oh, this is really big, which for gameplay is fantastic. And to be honest, it does fit with the whole vibe and theme of the house, because the living room is also quite a big space. So it does fit in that respect, but it did take me a little bit of time to try and figure out what to do with that sort of wooden floored space. So what I did decide to do is I thought, right, if I just focus on the kitchen area, get that locked down, get that where I want it to be, then I can then move on to this other area and it'll just come to me. And luckily, that's exactly what happened. It did. It came to me. in a dream, as it were. But it didn't really. But anyway. So I ended up doing something a little bit, not controversial over there, but something that maybe doesn't make the most sense. But we'll talk about that when we move on to it. Can I just say that this flooring is just superb and works beautifully within this space? I want to say it's from Businesses and Hobbies. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure, but I'm almost positive this is from Businesses and Hobbies. And I also used a couple of appliances here, so the microwave and the coffee machine from the restoration kit. So I was thinking maybe I was going to get my sim to restore them for the screenshots, and then I thought, no, do you know what? I think the dad went to some sort of like car boot or garage sale, and he saw them, and because he likes tinkering with things, he's brought them home. And his wife's like, those are not going in the kitchen. Have you seen the state of them? And he's just left them on the counter. So just a nice bit of gameplay for you to involve yourselves in if you do. Sorry, I'm assuming that you're going to be downloading this house. Like, oh yeah, when you download this house. I do apologise. If you do decide to download this house or even when the save file's released and the family's already in here, you can get the dad and the son maybe to tinker with the objects. I don't know. I just thought it was a really nice storyline. So this is where I was like, okay, I'm going to move this cabinet over here. And then I was just thinking, I don't really want to put another bar here. I don't need another dining table. So I turned this into like a little area where they feed the dog. Essentially. Oh, sorry. I forgot to mention they also have a dog. I am so sorry. I'll pin a comment just in case you've already nipped off to The Sims 4 and you're making this family for me, because I forgot to mention at the beginning of my video that this family also has a dog. I do apologise. So yeah, there's also a little hot cocoa tray, so it's not solely for the dog. But yeah, I was just like, well, I didn't know what else to put here. So this was the only logical thing for me to put here, I'm going to be honest. So one other thing that I would also like to say is the kitchen clutter kit. These little containers are from that kit. They're stackable. That is genius. I didn't realise this until I worked on this build, and I was like, that is the cutest idea ever. And so I used them in various places within this kitchen here. But the kitchen came together really nicely. Again, the tiles and the checkered wallpaper just screams 80s to me. I don't know about anybody else, but that's the majority of the downstairs done. And then we just work on this really little room here that I alluded to just a few minutes ago. So this is like the hobby room. There's a chess table, there's a little guitar, there's a record player, there's a little heater as well, because I feel like, I don't know, I was thinking in my head that like this is the cold room of the house. I've no idea why. Everyone has, I think, a room that's particularly cold in their house. Like we have one. Or is that just me thinking that that's the thing and it's actually not? Anyway, I was thinking that this is the room for this house. This is the cold room. So there's like a little space heater in here, which I absolutely adored. Like it's a little bit, obviously it's dated because it's an 80s save file, but like there's these old curtains in here, this old wallpaper, and then like this rug that doesn't really match anything. That's also from Life and Death. I feel like within this 80s save file, I've said this before, I'm reusing items, and I completely understand that. Like, you know, I think I'd find it difficult not to reuse items within a save file like this, because it's a very specific save file and not everything in The Sims 4 is 80s themed, obviously. So you have to look for specific items. And there are certain items that aren't necessarily 80s, but if you pair them up with other items, you can kind of get away with it looking like it's from the 80s. So this rug, for example, I wouldn't necessarily say it screams 80s by itself, but when you pair it with the floral wallpaper and then all of the trinkety decorations that we went for in that room, I think it all starts to come together and then just gives off that 80s vibe. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, we've moved on to the upstairs of the house, and the first room that we work on is the son's bedroom. So this is the bedroom that the son's grown up in, like his entire life. So every single life stage of being a sim, he has been in this bedroom. So my idea, as I was explaining at the beginning, for this room was that he's still got little bits and pieces from when he was last in this room, such as like these posters on the wall and things like that. But he's also had to move in his baby daughter with him temporarily. So we do end up adding, as I was explaining at the beginning again, like the travel cot where she is temporarily sleeping, bless her heart. And then the room, just like the box room to the left there, is going to be her new bedroom, and that is the room that is currently in the process of being renovated. So I'm really excited to show that room to you all, because it's not something I don't think I've ever done on the channel, where I've done like a half decorated room and played out a storyline or tried to explain a storyline as not as intricate as this. I don't think it's an intricate storyline at all. I don't think that's what I'm trying to say necessarily, but it's the first time, yeah, that I've done like a half decorated room as part of a house. And I'm gonna be honest, I really enjoyed it, so I'll likely do it again, just randomly, for probably like a random house or a random apartment that I end up doing further on down the line. But yeah, this is the little area here, so you can see he's trying to make it as nice as possible for her, but you can tell it's a temporary situation, or at least I hope you can, because that's what I was trying to portray within the decor. So you can see that he's like put a little sticker on the wall, and she's got like a little basket of toys, but he's had to keep his coats on the wall because there's nowhere else to put them at the moment. There's some towels for her as well, so he can dry her off after bath time. And just things like that. I think it's just like the little details in this house that I think help tell the appropriate story that we were wanting to go for. So I'm really excited actually to see all your Sims, all of the Sims just in general, but particularly for this house. I think it's going to be super interesting. And don't forget the dog, for goodness sake, because I did forget to explain that at the beginning. Like, it's no big deal if you forget the dog. If I find a family that I fall in love with and there's no dog, first of all, that's completely my fault. Secondly, I can just download a dog separately and add it to the household. It is no big deal. But then so we do start working on the baby girl's room, or what will be the baby girl's room. This is a very, very quick room to decorate. So I did use the wallpaper from the restoration kit, because like you can see, this is what, like, they've peeled off all the wallpaper and they're getting ready to like paint it or wallpaper it. They're probably going to wallpaper it, let's be honest, because it was the 80s. I think wallpaper was quite present in the 80s. At least it was in the house that I grew up. I say the house that I grew up in. I wasn't even born in the 80s. Oh my goodness. I was born in the 90s, but even then we had wallpaper. So I'm making an educated guess that it was the same in the 80s, which is exactly why I don't think I've done any. I mean, I probably will have done at some point in the save file, done rooms that's just paint. I think most of them will be wallpaper. But yeah, like there's just different bits in here. So there's like older items that were in here that are still in here, but they've moved most of it out. It's just that they're in the process of doing it up. And I just thought that was a really nice idea. So now we start working on the one and only bathroom. I hope this is not a problem. The fact that we have a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. I talk about this so much, and I feel like you need at least 2 bathrooms in a house that has more than 2 bedrooms. But I think for the family, it works. I think if you want to add another bathroom, may I suggest turning that little hobby room downstairs into another bathroom? Because I very nearly did that. Honestly, I very nearly did it, and then I was like, no, that's just not what I'm personally wanting to go through with this storyline. So 1 bathroom it is, but it's a full bathroom and it's a big bathroom, and it will suit all of the Sims' needs. So then we move on to the final room of the house, which is the mum and dad's room. I went with like a really bright, florally, quite feminine vibe in here, I would say, and I actually really like the result. I think this is the first time that I'm using this particular bed in this particular swatch in this save file, so it was a nice change of pace. I think it's the first time I'm using it. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Like I've already explained, I started this save file months ago, so there is every chance that I have already used this bed and I've completely forgotten about it, but I digress. I think it works really well in this house, in this room. Again, another really good sized room. I didn't really realise this when I was building the exterior of this house, and I say this a lot on the channel as well. I'm like, I concentrate on the exterior. If I fall in love with the exterior, I can then move on to the interior. That's a different kettle of fish. That's a different problem. Now, the smart thing, and I've spoken about this before as well, the smart thing to do would be, if I were to give advice to people who are looking to start building in The Sims 4, fall in love with the exterior, but make sure there is room for everything that you want to have in the interior. Because I've been doing this so long, I can kind of gauge it. Sometimes I get it completely wrong though. Like, for what I was just about to explain here was, I had a lot more room in this house than I originally thought I would have. Honestly, this house has such good sized rooms, and the layout ended up working so beautifully. But from the outside of it, you wouldn't look at this and go, whoa, that's a big house. You'd be like, oh, it's just a regular sized house in The Sims 4, like, no big deal. At least I think so, anyway. But yeah, the main bedroom came together really quickly. Even considering I did quite a bit of clutter in there as well. I mean, I didn't go over the top with it, but I still put some like little trinkety bits on various counters and like counters. I meant bedside tables. And then like the vanity dresser with the mirror on it as well. But yeah, I didn't like not decorate it. So I was quite surprised with how quickly that came together. And then I just nip outside and put some final touches out here. But that's pretty much it for this video. Like, I've had such a good time with this one, honestly. So if you would like to download this house, it's available from the gallery right now. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description box below. You can get them from Sim File Share. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here today. I hope you all enjoyed this. I can't wait to read all of your amazing comments as always. And we are so close to finishing this save file. I am so excited. So yes, I will leave you here. You all take care, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye!